All right, hello and welcome to Uffsides NFL Podcast. I'm Matt Ufford. With me in SB Nation Studios in Manhattan, New York, is Keith Bulluck, former All-Pro linebacker for Tennessee Titans, also All Big East for Syracuse, back when the Big East had football teams. So congratulations on all of that and a successful career. 10 years with the Titans, 1 year with the New York Giants, your hometown team. Welcome today. And thanks for taking some time out with us on Thanksgiving holiday week. You got plans for the holiday?
Yeah, I'm going to go upstate. It's probably like the first time I've been home for Thanksgiving since probably high school. So I'm going to go upstate to my brother's house to Rockland County and take it in with the family. So looking forward to that. And thank you for all the nice things you said in the intro. I appreciate that.
Well, it's all true. And
I worked hard for those things.
Also, you're the first player to retire as a Tennessee Titan. So
yeah,
congratulations on that.
I appreciate that.
Let's get right into things with the worst of the worst. This is a feature I like to. Everybody has arguments about the best teams in the NFL. I like to talk about the worst teams. That was the plan when I put together this podcast, and then we were supposed to be able to have a discussion about this. Except the Chiefs kind of took the discussion away.
Every week they do it every week.
Man, new levels of suck every week. So let's change things up. Let's talk about the worst quarterback in the NFL. And I mean, obviously, it's somebody
on the Chiefs.
Let's talk about the worst quarterback to start a game, because otherwise we'd be digging the dregs of third string, what have you. And this is inspired partly by Jason Campbell's performance last night, Monday Night Football. He made Mark Sanchez look great last night. Like, I was watching the game and I was like, man, Mark Sanchez is way better than Jason Campbell.
Yeah, he was thrusted into a tough situation. You would think Kaepernick would have the tougher time, being that he's the second-year guy. Jason Campbell has started for two different organizations and has played very well. So you think that he would have a better time, but that San Francisco defense, actually, the Chicago Bears couldn't block anyone, so Jason Campbell was on his back very often last night.
Yeah, and I expected it to be, I expected a lot of problems for both quarterbacks.
Right,
and,
exactly.
The Bears lead the league in interceptions, I think. Like, that was, I did not expect the Bears to just not show up last night.
Yeah, I mean, look, anytime that they kept getting put in third and long situations, so it was hard on Jason Campbell. Now he has to drop back to pass again, and here comes Aldon Smith and all the rest of those guys. Aldon Smith, 5.5 sacks on Monday Night Football.
He had a night.
I mean, I think I need to give him the title of Mr. Monday Night. He could have it. He did his thing.
Yeah, he absolutely did. Also doing his thing in Arizona is John Skelton. It's man, when
John, it's bad when they take out the starting quarterback and he's not injured and put in a backup quarterback that no one has ever heard of.
A rookie backup quarterback, Ryan Lindley of San Diego State.
I'm glad you knew his name, because
I had to look it up, actually.
You got that computer in front of you. You're cheating.
I did my research beforehand. Ryan Lindley cannot be in this discussion because he came in at like 2 quarters in, 9 of 20 for 64 yards.
9 of 20 for 60.
Yeah, that's 20. The Cardinals had 41 net yards passing on Sunday.
And you know what? About the Cardinals, it's so bad because they have a good defense.
Yeah,
they have
absolutely.
good players, and it's just that they can't get that quarterback situation together. You know, they drafted Matt Leinart to be the quarterback of the future, and where is he? I don't know even if he's on the team right now.
He's backing up.
Is it in Oakland possibly?
Yes. He's a Raider now after a little dalliance with the Texans last year.
Right, absolutely. So, Kurt Warner saved that franchise, brought him to prominence, and he was 38 years old, and then now they're trying to bring Skelton in. They thought he was going to do something last year when he was able to come in and be successful when Cobb went down, and Cobb just he's hurt.
That's a horrible trade. That's that trade with the Eagles.
That always seems to happen. Like, these quarterbacks get opportunities, they come in, they're backups, and they play lights out. And, when they get the opportunity to go, look, Matt Flynn's not even starting up in Seattle right now.
I'm a Seahawks fan myself. So.
I mean, they're playing good.
Yeah.
You have a lot to be proud of.
Yeah. Thankfully, Russell Wilson's not part of that discussion. They definitely had a rough start to the season, playing a lot better now. Also, we talked about guys who prove themselves with one team and then end up terrible on another. Matt Castle.
Yeah, terrible.
But who's worse, Brady Quinn or Matt Castle? That's a.
They're on the same team. They're on the same team.
Yeah, they're on the same terrible team.
I mean, man, and they have that. it's another situation where they have good offensive players. They have two good wide receivers.
Dwayne Bowe, 0 catches on Sunday.
Exactly. How does that happen? You can't get him the ball. That's terrible. And then Jamal Charles. If you can't get the running game and the passing game going, look, the quarterback has to take some responsibilities at some point. At the end of the day, it all falls on the coach or what have you.
Yep.
But the coach isn't going to go on the field and play. So these guys need to start doing their jobs a little better.
Well, let's take things another direction and talk about more positive things. Who's the best team in the NFL right now?
Well, right now, the San Francisco 49ers made a good case of that last night.
Did they?
The Houston Texans, they play well. I mean, look, they were in a shootout against Jacksonville this weekend, but at this point of the season, a lot of teams, they're going to win ugly. You know, it doesn't matter how you win at this point. It's a matter about getting the win. And the Houston Texans showed that they have the will to come back and fight during games and get those wins. Atlanta did the same thing. All those turnovers, they were able to come back and get that win. So
6 turnovers and
they
won.
were still able to win, and that's what's crazy. So thanks to the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, the Cardinals had a say in that one.
But I guess I'm gonna go San Francisco because I like defense. Although Atlanta Falcons are playing very, very well, they play good defense. I think Asante Samuels came over and brought attitude to that team, to that defense. You know, he gives that defense a swagger that they didn't have before. The defensive backs are flying around, linebackers up front, they're all balling, and you see how coach isn't afraid to make a statement. They let Ray Edwards go. They cut Ray Edwards, and look, they're about their business, and I think that's good for the Atlanta Falcons, who is a franchise and an organization the last couple of years who play great in the regular season. Maybe they can put it together this postseason.
Yeah, I think people, and you can please weigh in on this since you're the actual person with NFL experience. But I think people
Didn't you play
in the backyard throwing the ball to myself, pretending I was Steve Largent. Yeah. It's the same thing, basically.
With your number 80 jersey on, I got you.
Oh, yeah, I love that number 80. But I think that a lot of fans and analysts overvalue playoff performance in judging a team, and that it's in just like they don't take into account how difficult it is to win in the playoffs. Like the Falcons have lost 3 straight years in the playoffs, but they've lost to teams that have gone on to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It's not like they're It's not like they're the Saints losing to a 7-9 Seahawks team.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of how the luck of the draw. And like you said, they lost to the Giants last year, who was hot going into the playoffs. And then they lost to Green Bay the year before, who also was hot going into the playoffs. In both years, the defense couldn't keep up with the offense. And last year, neither one of them can get going, the offense or the defense. So I think that they have a great balance this year, and Asante Samuels is a guy who's been and won Super Bowls. They got Anthony Gonzalez, who is a veteran, and I think they have the veteran leadership and fortitude to get through the season and definitely get a playoff win. And when you talk about playoff football, at the end of the day, that's what you're measured. That's what you're measured by, because the one who wins the Super Bowl is obviously the best team in the league, and you can't get there without going through the playoffs.
Yep. Speaking of the playoffs and the Super Bowl, who was your preseason Super Bowl picks?
My preseason Super Bowl picks were the 49ers and the New England Patriots.
Oh, you're looking pretty good right
yes,
now.
Yes, I am.
Are you standing by that just to look good right now? Or
I'm kind of puffing my chest out a little bit, but I like Houston. Because what they can do if they play New England in the championship game, they have a running game that can control the ball. New England has found their running game this year for sure. Stephen Ridley is doing a great job back there, and those guys are bringing something to that they haven't had since Corey Dillon. So that's helping Tom Brady out, and that running game is going to have to step up more now that Gronk is out.
Yeah, that offense. The offense has never been a problem for the Patriots.
No, not at all.
It's the defense that has given up like more than 50 pass plays at 20+ yards. They got some
plays.
holes.
Those are in the NFL plays over 20 yards. That's why you always hear the announcers talk. Those are explosive plays. Anytime you're giving up explosive plays always on your hit chart when you go into that meeting on Monday and talk with your coach. That's not a good thing. And I'm sure Belichick, he seems mild mannered when he's on television and everything. But I know some guys who played for him, and I hear that he can really get after you.
I hear the film studies are brutal with the Patriots.
Yeah, I've heard the same things. I've definitely heard the same things. But then that goes to show why they're such a successful organization. They always win. I kind of look at them as the Romans. You know, they're always rebuilding. They're always ready to lead the charge. And you know, organizations like them, Pittsburgh, New York, how they always seem to rebuild they're never having a rebuilding season.
It's so frustrating. I hate them. Let's talk about some of your personal experiences in the NFL and your life, of course. You were just talking about coaches. You worked with Jeff Fisher, obviously a great coach, now with the St. Louis Rams, and Tom Coughlin. So you're with great coaches. I can't ask you about. You don't have any Romeo Crennels in your.
No.
What's Jeff Fisher like, and do you prefer the mustache or the goatee?
Oh man, I prefer. I don't know what you're talking about. That porn mustache, man. If you're wearing,
it's like more like an '80s cop stash.
Yeah, man. And then all he has to do is grow that mullet out a little bit more. He used to rock a mullet with that mustache, so he was all the way Nashville.
That's probably why he stayed there for so long.
Wait, he had the mullet with this little spiked hair and the mustache. Wow. But yeah, Jeff is a great coach, man. He's a guy who's able to relate to people. You know, he's played in, you know, college and high school, well, obviously high school, college, and in the pros, and he played around some guys when he played with the Bears that were All-Pro, Hall of Fame guys, played around, you know, coaching staffs that he's been around, so he understands the game. He understands, you know, how to get his players to react, how to get them to perform in situations maybe that may not be most favorable. You know, when you're losing, you have losing record, but you still have to be able to go out there and perform and try and put together wins. And, you know, it's always easy to get out there when you're winning, but when you're not, things aren't going so well. That's a sign of a good coach also.
I'm curious about some of your teammates over the decade.
Which ones? Ask them.
Tell me a LenDale White story.
Tell you a LenDale White story.
Because I have it on, I won't say good authority, but I've heard from some people that he was a tequila guzzling madman.
Yeah, you know what's funny? And LenDale, he missed out on the opportunity. He had a perfect opportunity to make a marketing deal. See, the athletes, they don't really think outside the box all the time. See, yeah. I mean, when we would go out, that was his drink of choice. That actual off-season, Patron. And then, honestly and truthfully speaking, he cut down his weight when he stopped drinking Patron. I think it was just alcohol in general. We all know that, but he definitely gave a big plug to Patron tequila, and I think that he should have maximized on that and possibly gotten a commercial or got some free merchandise.
Vince Young, also a shirtless Patron drinker.
Oh yeah, definitely shirtless Patron drinker around a bunch of guys. I know what picture you're talking about. That's pretty funny.
Were you ever going out with those guys at the time?
Yeah, those are my boys. I'm still cool with them. We haven't hung out in a while, but yeah, we used to hang out all the time. We have some real good times, and I'm not really gonna, give it up right here. But we've had some great times.
You were born and raised in the New York area. And then you spent 10 years in Nashville. What was that change like? What are some of your places in Nashville that you like? And Nashville's one of the few cities that I don't know very well, so we can't really rap about it.
Nash Vegas, baby. Nash Vegas. You know what? Coming from Syracuse and going to Nashville, Tennessee, I remember we played my last college game. We played Music City Bowl there, and I didn't go out the whole week we were there. I'm like, we're in Nashville. I'm not going out. And then I get drafted there. So it definitely wasn't my NFL experience. I have friends going to New York, Miami, Atlanta, you know what I mean? So, but it grew on me. It gave me the opportunity to work on my craft, to develop as a football player, and save a whole lot of money because there's not a lot you could spend on in Nashville during the season. The most I bought was DVDs. I accumulated over 1,000 DVDs.
Holy moly!
Every Tuesday I would just go to Best Buy and get the new releases. So that was my thing that I did to kill time in my free time in Nashville. But like I said, I was there to play football, so I did my job, man. I was around some great people: Eddie George, Steve McNair, Samari Roll, Javon Curse, Kevin Carter. that helped me develop and understand what it's like to be a professional, or understand what it means to be a professional.
Yeah, I don't want to make things too dark, but I did want to ask about Steve McNair, that you're the first person to retire as a Tennessee Titan, but that might not have been the case if he hadn't been murdered.
Well, no, Mac chose to retire as a Raven.
That's right. That's right.
He chose.
What a turncoat.
You know what? The organization, I wouldn't say that Tennessee does the best job of handling former players, you know, or people that have put that time in with that organization. But hey, to each his own. So, but yeah, you know, it's unfortunate the situation with Mac. He was such a great person. You know, everybody knows him as the football player, the warrior, but the person he was great. You know, anytime you're a star of that magnitude and you know, are humble enough to welcome people into your home and bring yourself maybe down to make someone feel that they're on the same level of you, that's big. And he was always into, you know, the community and giving back and stuff like that. So.
Where were you when you heard about his death? Did you hear from the media or through like a network?
It was crazy because actually I was in San Francisco. It was obviously 4th of July, and I got a text from like some random person in Nashville like, "Yo, is Steve McNair dead?" And I was like, you know, I wrote STFU, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are you talking? So then I have to like do some real research, and then like, you know, I did my research, and then I got it from a very credible source, and it was just crazy. And then I just remember like all the media outlets are like calling me, ESPN, like trying to get, you know, me on TV to talk about it. But like, look, my friend was just murdered.
Yeah.
Like,
oh God.
You know, I understand that it's news, but like to some people it's news. To other people, you know, it hits closer to home.
Yeah, it was. That's as someone who's been writing for like 6 years, that I'd say that was one of the biggest pieces of news that just caught everybody off guard.
Totally.
Let's move back. I was going beyond the Wikipedia page last night, and I did not realize, and I don't think it's common knowledge for the casual NFL fan, that you've got. I did not realize that you had a pretty tough upbringing.
It was a challenge, you know. It was one of my first challenges of life.
Yeah. So go ahead, please enlighten the viewers.
Yeah. Well, you know, I was in foster care at the age of 12. I went to foster care. I actually was raised by my regular family. My mom, grandmother, aunt. Went to foster care at the age of 12. My mom came up on some hard times. Then I started living with a friend of mine, and it was supposed to be a couple weeks. And, you know, I guess my mom's times were harder than everyone expected. So 2 weeks turned into pretty much 6 years. And, you know, I was raised by a white family. The lady, Miss Welch, she was from England. And, you know, it was a difficult transition. You know, you got to think. I'm 12 years old. Well, first and foremost, it was cool because I got an opportunity at 12 to finally be a 12-year-old. You know, before that, you know, I'm like 12, but I'm more like a 15-year-old. You know, I defend for myself a lot, do a lot of things that most kids didn't have to do. So I think being in foster care kind of allowed me to be a kid and enjoy childhood, but it, you know, took me away from my family. So
how did you know the Welches? What was the connection there?
Well, when I moved into the area first, you know, I first lived in Haverstraw, which is pretty much a multicultural neighborhood. Then I moved to New City, which is predominantly a Jewish neighborhood. Danny was one of my classmates since like 4th grade, and we're just friends. We played video games together, you know, played after school together, and he was just a friend. And I would spend weekends over his house, and weekends turned to living with him. So,
man, all right. So, and now you have a foundation for kids in foster care.
Yeah, I did. I always said if I was ever in a position to give back, I would. And my 3rd year in the league, I was a starter. I had a great year, so I was like, "Yo, I'm gonna start a foundation." And I came up with the Keith Bulluck Believe and Achieve Foundation, because it's simple to me. If you believe, you can achieve. And really, we started just doing things, book bag drive, things on Halloween, Christmas, Thanksgiving, spring break, just really in the Nashville community and some in Rockland, to take these kids and give them an opportunity to realize, one, that, look, whatever they want to do, they can accomplish. I'm a testament to that. And then 2, take them away from their everyday life. You know, let them go experience things that maybe the other kids that have families don't get to experience. Make them feel special a little bit by having my teammates around around and bringing them around, professional athletes and people that are just like them.
All right. You played, I think, 127 straight games over 8 years.
Something like that.
That's and then at the end of your career, you had the knee injury, the ACL, and then with your Giants time, you had some toe trouble. What's it like to? We were just talking beforehand how you lost like 15 pounds since your playing days. Yeah. What's it like to go from like making every single game to like the frustrations of being injured and like not being able to get out there?
That's a great question. You got I feel like I've been through the whole NFL experience, the whole gambit. I was a first-round draft pick, had to wait behind some vets. Then I started to play in Pro Bowl, All-Pro, AFC Championship. The only game I haven't played in is the Super Bowl. I play a Hall of Fame game, So, and then to get hurt 2 games before my contract is up. Oof. You know what I mean? That was because I was about to get paid again. Let's be honest. I was going to the Pro Bowl. I was about to get paid again. So, and then to go to New York, which was a great situation. I could have gone to Arizona. We see where they are now. But it just didn't work out. So to answer your direct question, it was frustrating. But what I did was I made the most of my time. I took everything to account. It was a blessing in disguise to get an opportunity to play for the home team, New York Giants. I am a New Yorker. The drive to work every day was great, and playing with those guys and having that coaching staff is a great team. And the New York Giants, I can say from firsthand experience that they are a first-class organization. And it was just, I didn't play and get the football experience I wanted, but at the same time, I got the NFL experience.
That's got to be the best experience possible, to grow up a fan of a team and then to wear that uniform.
Yeah, and you know what? And I started towards the end of the year, as I started to feel better, I started to make plays. So, wear that uniform, play in that stadium for the first time, and, retire. Well, I retired as a Titan, but, get to play for the home team. And my last NFL play, if I believe, was an interception. So
that's a good way to go.
I'm cool on that. I'm good on that.
Yeah, congratulations. All right, let's go to Twitter questions. We have something called the Troll Bag. I put out, hey, this is going to be my guest. Go ahead, hit me up on Twitter for the questions. These are not professional interviewers. These are people who follow me on Twitter, and therefore they're suspect.
That's cool.
Yeah. Let's first up. Who's our first question?
I hope you don't got no creepy followers.
What's your brother Jim J up to these days? And that's, of course, Jim J. Bulluck is he's the center.
Full House, right?
I'm not sure it was Alf. He was on Alf for 2 years and Hollywood Squares, Center Square. Also,
I don't know what Jim J. Bulluck is up to.
I didn't either, and so I went to his Wikipedia page, found out some kind of depressing stuff. HIV positive since 1985. His partner died of AIDS in 96. Also,
terrible question.
Busted for possession of meth in 1999. So that's what Jim J. Bulluck is up to. His life is kind of depressing.
Talk about downhill slide.
Yeah, thanks for that question.
Come on, R.S. McCrary.
Maybe next time I would have gone with Sandra Bullock. That would have been her set. That's kind of sad too.
She's adopting African children.
Yeah. The Jesse James thing didn't work out so great. Though.
Jesse James is. I don't know. I don't know what to say about that.
Yeah. So also, it should be noted that you're Bullock with
U.
2 U's,
yes,
and those are Bullocks with an O. So never mind the Bullocks.
That was a terrible
question. I shouldn't have said that. Okay. Anyway, what's the next one?
It's pretty fun.
Ask you about Jim Schwartz's approach to player discipline on and off the field. And Jim Schwartz, of course, was your defensive coordinator from 01 to 08.
Right.
And I think that's a valid question.
Very good
The
question.
Lions have, since Schwartz has taken over, have not had the most sparkling off-field reputation.
Right.
What was your experience with him?
Schwartz was our coordinator, so when it came to discipline and all that stuff, it pretty much Jeff Fisher handled that, So with us, we respected Schwartz. He had to earn his respect because a lot of the older guys, he went from quality control to linebacker coach to
he's a young guy.
Yeah, to defensive coordinator. He ascended pretty fast in the Titans organization. So, a lot of guys that were there before me, it wasn't easy for Schwartz. So he definitely earned his stripes and he earned his keep and deserves to be where he is. I don't know. We were tyrants on defense, man. Like, there's not much you can really say to us. If you're just controlling a defensive unit, you want them to kind of play a certain way. But as a head coach, you got to kind of corral that and, keep it tempered, and you kind of tread a thin line.
Yeah, I think that there's a tendency for fans to think that all a head coach does is they look at the 2-minute drill and see how the coach manages timeouts and challenges, and they assume that's all. That's like most of his job. When most of his job is managing a staff of coaches.
Yeah, the head coach. It's crazy because Mike Munchak was obviously the O-line coach when I was at Tennessee. Now he's the head coach there, and I asked him. We used to speak. I asked him, what's it like being a head coach? He's like, now you got to worry about who's sitting where on the plane, what are they eating for lunch, pregame meal. I'm trying to get a game plan together to go out and play the Colts, and I'm worrying about, guys off the field things. So it's just not the football aspect. Whereas a defensive coordinator is just X's and O's. Offensive coordinator, X's and O's. Player coach, you just a position coach. You're just coaching your position. So head coach, a lot goes into it.
Yeah, I imagine so. Excuse me. All right, let's. I now move into the shameless plug territory. I've got a weekly NFL column called Fumbler, and every episode of Uffsides, we showcase either a GIF or a meme or a Photoshop that we'll see in tomorrow's Fumbler. And this one is an animated GIF. Are you familiar with animated GIFs? It's like a looped animation.
All right, let's check it out.
So it's Josh Freeman. I don't know if you saw this play. Josh Freeman completes a pass. He pump fakes a defender into the air and then completes a pass underhanded between his legs.
Oh, nice.
And the animated GIF isn't working. Oh, there we go. That's loading. And see under the legs. Do you ever see like that's I think that's representative of the Bucs this year. Nobody expected them to do so well under Greg Schiano.
Yeah, no, I've never seen that. It's pretty witty right there.
Yeah, I've seen the offhanded throw, like switching it over to the offhand to throw it away, the casual flick.
What is the most impressive? That's pretty. That might be like top 3 most impressive. Get the ball up out of your hand real quick, real fast.
Yeah, the Bucs are a surprising team, and Freeman has bounced back from an off year last year.
Yeah, you think about the Bucs though. 2 years ago, they were right. They were doing the same thing that they were doing, but then they had that early success. They had a young team. Raheem Morris was a young coach, and they took probably his kindness as a weakness, and took advantage of that. And then when things started to go bad, they probably didn't take their head coach as serious because he was maybe too friendly, too buddy. And now Schiano comes in, he cuts out the bad parts. It's either you're going to be on my ship or you're going to get out of here. And look, has those guys rolling. And there are a lot of young talent, and Doug Martin definitely is a big key for them to have the success that they're having.
There's talk that when you have millionaire athletes or even regular regular baseline veterans who are making 6 figures before taxes, that you can't sustain that kind of the hard line coach. Is that a sustainable model? Can it work for a year, or do players tune that out?
It depends on what they're there for. Look, you have guys that are playing football to win football games and don't worry about the monetary, because if you take care of your job and you go out there and you play to the best of your ability, you're going to get paid. Everything's going to take care of itself. But then you have guys that go out there for the paycheck. Like, let's be real about the situation. So I think a good coach finds those guys out, finds the true football guys, and those are the type of guys that they want on their team. You don't see those type teams with any BS going on, because they get those type players out of there. They get those type of flash for cash guys out of there. It's not all about the game for them unless they're making highlights or something.
All right, and that wraps it up for us. Keith Bulluck, true football player.
Yes.
Thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us. Have a happy Thanksgiving. For viewers of Uffsides, do please check out the replay on YouTube. And we're working on getting things up on iTunes. Also, last plug, you follow Keith on Twitter @KBull53, and of course myself @Matt Ufford. We'll see you next week. Thanks a lot.